Immigration. It's a new world problem. It's destroying our planet. It's killing people. It's ruining everyone's lives. Immigration is going to be the end of our civilization. Except immigration has been happening since history began. Before shoes, before countries, before lines on a map, immigration happened. People migrated from South Africa to Central Africa to Northern Africa to Mongolia to the Americas and into Europe because that's where the food was. That's how they took care of their families. People moved to make the world a better place for who they were with, from their wife to their kids to their families to their tribes to everything in between. They followed the food, they followed the weather, and that's how migration and immigration started. But if you watch the news, you'll understand that right now we're being told immigration is a new, big, scary problem. It's not new. And while some of it is a problem, I think we've lost touch with the history of immigration, the history of migration. So come back with me. Let's learn about it a little bit. Humans have always moved. Picture this. You're an early human in Africa. You run out of food. You look north. You think, what's over there? First immigration wave. We moved for food, water, safety. Occasionally, because some guy named Og said, trust me, it's better over here. We're all descended from the new people who showed up somewhere else. Literally, everyone's ancestors were immigrants at some point. Which makes, I'm not an immigrant, kind of feel, well, silly, right? Now, some people say, well, my family started in this country and that country, and I've always lived here. But if you go far enough back, there's people from other places in your family. And then, of course, we start talking about the drama with immigration. Egypt, full of immigrants back in the day. Workers, soldiers, traders, slaves. Rome, a giant immigration machine. You could be born in Spain, serve in the army in Syria, retire in Britain, and guess what? You're still Roman. China, the Silk Road wasn't just silk. It was a people highway. People traveled up and down that road, and sometimes they would just stop in a town and decide that's where we're going to live. But here's the hilarious part. Every empire, every country, every powerhouse needed immigrants and also complained about them at the same time. Like, yes, we want your labor. We want your spices. We want your culture. We want all that. But don't get too comfortable, okay? We don't want to give you anything for it. We want to keep you where you're at. It's kind of like inviting someone to the potluck because they make an amazing pie, but also whispering, why are they here? So here's what we're dealing with in today's world. We have these things called borders. Strict borders, brand new idea. For most of history, borders were basically a fuzzy place between, this guy's map and this guy's map. And they kind of decided like an area where, okay, you know what? We'll call this ours and this one's yours. 19th and the 20th century changed everything. Colonialism, British Empire, Spanish Empire, French Empire, a little bit of the American Empire, Chinese Empire, moved millions, some willingly, some not. If you think about the 19th, 17th century, we moved a lot of people from Africa to South America, North America, and Europe against their will. The Industrial Revolution, cities filled with Irish, Italians, Polish, Russians, cue world panic. And here's where it gets wild. The arguments were the same ones we hear today. They're taking our jobs. They'll never fit in. They're changing our culture. Except swap pizza for tacos, sushi depending on the century. Why the fear? Why do we have fear with immigrants? And why does it keep coming attack. Humans are wired to be suspicious of anything new. We like the standard quo because way back, new could be a predator. It could be competition for food. It could be competition for resources. Then you sprinkle in a little politics. You've got the perfect recipe for those people are scary. But here's the kicker. Those people almost always become our people within a few generations. Foods, music, language, technology, it all gets woven in. Textiles move from migration to immigration to migration. Even like socks weren't developed in our country. Immigrants brought them here, so the socks you're wearing. That's what we're talking about. Technology moved from Europe to here, but we were okay with it because a lot of them look like us. Until the Italians were a little too dark skinned, then they were closer to the Africans. We didn't give them as much. And the Irish people drank too much, so they were drunks, so they only could do certain types of jobs. We judged everybody when they first came here, but now when you go down the street, you can't tell what heritage most everybody is. And you'll probably be wrong if you guess. Again, that's okay. That's what our country and the world was built off of. Immigration, sharing of ideas, sharing of space. Now, in today's perspective, immigration debates are old news. The only difference is the speed, planes instead of boats, social media instead of town gossip. Okay. We know they're coming. How do they get here? Some get here by planes with a visa and their visa outstays. And then they're illegal. Some cross the border illegally in a car or just walk across the river. Some get shipped in a container. All different ways these people come in illegally. But then there's others who come in legally and they do it the right way. The problem with doing it the right way is the right way changes depending on which country you're coming from. And that, of course, leads to the debate of are we being racist or cautious? In the past 30 plus years, America has been under attack by terrorists from certain religions and certain countries. And we've put travel bans or warnings on those countries. Now, the problem with putting travel bans and warnings on those countries is most of the people in those countries are good people. Just like most Americans are good people. We're not terrorists. We're not angry. We're not burning down buildings. We're not rioting in the streets. Most of us wake up every day, try to do our job, try to be with our family. And immigrants are the same. But because we put a travel ban on those countries, a lot of countries look at us like we hate everybody who looks like them or acts like them. When honestly, I think a lot of us think, oh, we're putting a travel ban to keep us safe. But safety by excluding anyone who looks a certain way is not the way to deal with immigration or with people. Sometimes we just have to accept the good with the bad. And by accepting the good with the bad, I think we become even better. So let's think about this. History says immigration isn't a glitch. It's literally the default human setting. The real question isn't should it happen, it's how do we handle it without repeating every bad decision we've ever made. We're going to repeat some, let's be honest. That's just the way our brains work, right? We make mistakes. But maybe we can at least be fun about it this time or do it better or not be so angry about it. I look back at history and we had a Chinese immigration freeze because the Chinese were taking all of our jobs on the railroads. Then we had an immigration freeze, or basically we interned Japanese Americans and Japanese coming into our country during World War II because they might fight for their homeland. Now, we didn't intern Germans, but that's a different story. That's a different video. Anyone who looked Asian, we put them in a camp, took away all their stuff, and That's how we dealt with that immigration issue. And then after 9/11, we had a lot of issues with anybody of Arab descent. And then 2016, the president who got elected in November 2016, he put a ban on people from certain countries because of the Middle Eastern terrorist attack of 9/11. But then in 2020, we had a pandemic. Everything was closed, right? The border was closed for a little bit-ish. Then the next president came in and basically gave amnesty to almost everybody who wanted to come in. Just come on in. Let's go. Let's get this done. You know, our houses are open to everyone. The problem when you open it to everyone is that some bad people do come in. And the bad people were coming in and doing bad things. And then the Americans, just like the Europeans in 2010s, with the immigration crisis they had from Africa, with the famines and everything else in Libya, those areas, they came over to Europe because, well, they had no food or water and there was war. And England kind of froze and didn't know what to do. That's what we did in 2024. We reelected Donald Trump as president. He became hell-bent on changing immigration again, getting rid of the people who came in illegally. Now, everyone looks at it and goes, oh my Lord, he's deporting so many people. It's not fair. It's not right. He isn't even the president who's deported the most, but because of his rhetoric, his language, the way he's doing it, the way he's talking about it, people are more angry. Also, people are more angry because there's social media in a larger world now. You see videos online, you see protests. And because you see the videos online of the agents taking people away, and see protests in the street, you become polarized either one side or the other. Either all the immigrants are coming to steal our jobs and kill our families and abduct our children, or we need to be more welcoming and let everybody in. Social media has turned us into that. I think there's a middle ground. Because let's be honest, humans move. We always have. We always will. Immigration isn't a crisis. It's the oldest story we tell. And if someone says to you, this has never happened before, it's never been like this before, hand them a history book or a YouTube channel or even this video and say, hey, it's been going on a while. During the Roman Empire, they would invade a country and they would say, you're now Roman. You're no longer French or Greek. You're no longer Syrian. You're no longer, Russian. You're no longer a Turk. You're a Roman. You can keep your traditions, but now you belong to us. We are your daddy, okay, basically. And what happened after that? The Roman Empire fell. The British Empire took a lot of control. So the Brits started taking over countries. You're British now. You can be in America. You can be in, Bermuda. You can be in Spain. You can be wherever you want to be. But you're part of the, royal kingdom of England. God save the Queen and all that jazz. French, they took over Africa, spread their language there. They were the French Empire. But what started to happen after we, as the Americas, decided to break away from Britain, and Britain started losing certain countries, and Spain started losing certain countries, and French had a revolution and started losing heads and other countries. People started getting pride, or what they thought was pride in their country. This is our country. This is our state. This is our town. We don't want those people in our town. We worked hard. We fought. This is our land. It wasn't our land. It was somebody else's first, and somebody before that, and somebody before that. Now, don't get me wrong. I am not a big proponent of this whole we're on stolen land stuff. Okay? because everybody has taken the land from somebody to a point. I don't think we can trace who owned where I live from the beginning of the planet, from when the planet started. I don't think I can find out who originally sat here and put their stake in the ground and said, I own this land. I'm the first one here. Go me. We can't do that. Now, can we say, hey, this land was originally, it was inhabited by these people and these people and these people, and I respect how they've treated the land. Great. But saying that I owe my land back to people who probably don't exist anymore and probably haven't in hundreds of years, I'm not destroying the land. Neither are most people who live. When I went to college, we always have these lovely field trips, or I don't know which, outdoor adventures, or the start of class. I want to acknowledge that we're on stolen property, No, that's not what we're doing here, folks. We're not on stolen property. I did not steal this property. The person before me did not steal this property. If 900 years ago somebody stole this property from somebody, I'm sorry. I can't control that. I can't. Immigration isn't new. It's the oldest human tradition. From ancient empires to modern borders, humans have always moved and argued about it. Today we need to be able to connect immigration, the debate with immigration, to thousands of years of global migration, colonization, cultural exchange, war, famine. Talk about the Roman Empire, you can talk about the Egyptian Empire, you can talk about the British Empire, you can talk about the French Empire, you can talk about Americans, you can talk about Germany. There's so many. The Russians, the Chinese, the Japanese, the Koreans. The story stays the same. Now the snacks they ate, the movies they watched, the entertainment might be different. I'm assuming they didn't have a lot of entertainment when they crossed between Siberia and Alaska. Probably not a lot of Netflix and chill back then. But they ate. They went south where there was food. They found shelter. They found good land to grow crops on. And they thrived and they grew. And when the Europeans came over here, they thrived and they grew. Did they learn a lot from the natives that were here before them? Yes. But they still thrived and they grew. History is not black and white. Dates, times, locations, maybe. But the actual concept, the actual thing about history is that it's full of ADHD anxiety moments. Moments where you have to think, what were they thinking? What were they doing? Why? And we can't be like Bill and Ted. We can't go back in a phone booth and look to see what they were thinking. We read and we try to understand. Thank you all for watching. Have a great day.